Hi, I would like to talk to you today about an important subject, which is publishing quality improvement project. Many people have experience with publishing regular scientific papers. However, publishing quality improvement project is science that is evolving rapidly, and actually it's very important skills for healthcare professionals to learn. I'll be talking about the publication process in general, the difference between quality papers and research papers, Squire guidelines, component of a good QI manuscripts, and what are the reviewers looking for, and then about the Global Journal of Quality and Safety in Healthcare, which is, I'm the editor-in-chief of that journal, and I hope many of you will be submitting your quality improvement project to this journal. So the publication process usually starts with you draft a manuscript, you please involve the co-authors in it, and try to make sure that you get their review and approval to the manuscript. You may have to send it to an expert review, subject matter expert, and then then submit it to the journal. You have an editorial decision sent to you. They'll ask you to revise the manuscript, you resubmit, and you get acceptance. In very rare occasion, you may have editorial decision of acceptance directly, but this is extremely rare. So most of the time you'll be getting, some revision, and then get publication. So that sounds easy, right? But many of us are not experiencing this. We are experiencing probably the second scenario. We draft the manuscript, we get co-author review, expert review, we submit to the journal, and we get editorial decision, and our manuscript gets rejected. And we feel bad, of course, and so on. But please do not give up. Many people give up at that stage, and they say they get upset and so on, but you hurt only yourself when you don't persevere and submit the paper again. Please try to address the reason, resubmit to another journal, and review. Hopefully you get the review and acceptance, and then you get publications. Sometimes the journal does not have any feedback for you because it's not within the scope of the journal, and that's why you probably may not need to do any changes. The difference between quality paper and research paper is very important. Improvement is systematic, data-guided activity designed, and it's bring about immediate improvement in healthcare delivery in particular setting. While research is actually systematic investigation design to answer a specific question and to generate a new knowledge that can be generalized to broader population and application. So this table will show you the difference. The aim of the improvement is improvement of care, while the research is gaining a new knowledge. Methods, test of observability. Usually here you test the observable. Is observable. You see the, what's going on right in front of your eyes, while there the test is blinded or controlled. You accept consistent bias. Actually, you try to bias to get the improvement, identified and then settled. While the research is designed to eliminate bias. Sample size actually just enough, data small enough. Even the simple concept of oneness. You start with one unit, one doctor, one clinic, and so on. And you do enough patients to make sure that give you the data that you need to understand what's going on. Well, here just you collect a lot of data just in case. You test all the possibilities, and you make sure that you get enough sample size to answer your questions. The hypothesis in the improvement is flexible. Actually, you change it every time you find a new finding. When you test the improvement, the intervention, you change it the next time, and you learn from it. While in the research, as you know, hypothesis is fixed, and you cannot change it. It will kill your research project. The testing strategy for the improvement is sequential testing, while it's one large test in research. Determining if the change is an improvement, here we do run chart, Shewhart control charts, and others. While in the research, we do hypothesis, statistical test, t-test, whatever, chi-square test, and look at p-value. The data is usually the research subjects are identifiers are protected, while usually in quality improvement, actually, the data usually is open to those who are involved in the quality projects, and they see what's going on. So this is, improvement process. There's do, plan, study, act, develop, implement, analyze, and decide. While the research hypothesis, you form the hypothesis, you study, develop study protocol, then you collect data, you analyze the data and interpret it, and then you implement into practice. The Squire guideline is actually standard for quality improvement reporting excellence. There's version 2, and you can Google it and find it easily. Basically, it describes to you step by step what you need to do to write a manuscript. And these are blue underlined words. You can click on them, and it takes you into the definition. So to tell you what is the description of every component here: title, abstract, introduction, and then it gives you the methods, results, and all the way till 18 elements. And each element has certain components. So please, when you are going to write a quality manuscript, actually you should do that when you are designing the quality intervention, the quality project. The best way to do publication is to think about it before you do the actual project. And then you collect the data in a way that is publishable. You collect the information in a way that is publishable. So IMRAD, introduction, methods, results, and discussion. So introduction, why did you start? Why did you do the study or the project? Methods, what did you do? And then results, what did you find? And then what does the finding mean? So these are the component of overall summary of the component of the papers. I will take you through this quickly in each component. So title. The title is very important, as you know, because it gives the first impression, and it could attract or repel the reader. It should be short, concise, and give accurate information, should not be misleading, and has keywords that reflect quality. For example, the domains of quality: safety, effectiveness, patient-centeredness. So there should be something in the title reflecting that is a quality project. So for example, measurement of harms in community care, a qualitative study for the use of NHS safety thermometer. So measurement is a quality, safety is a word safety, harms, all of these are safety kind of thing. Patients and family empowerment, so this is patient-centered. Then of ambulatory care, safety and quality. So there's in the title something reflecting one of the domains of quality. So please, start with developing the title page. You put the title, the authors, the author affiliations, then corresponding authors, and then author who is going to be the one that the emails and the editorial board will be communicating with, and then keywords. Moving to the abstract, there are two types of abstracts: structured abstracts, which give you the background, methods, results, and conclusions, or unstructured abstracts. So usually you provide enough adequate information for people to understand summary of your study. So this is background, objective, methods, results, and conclusion. Many papers and journals put objectives as part of the background, so you don't have to put the word objective separately. The most important thing here I would advise you is to look for the instruction for that particular journal you are going to submit. Introduction is basically why did you do the projects. In this section, you try to justify, to tell people why did you do it. So you describe the problem. So this is problem structure first thing. What was the problem? In the regular scientific papers, you will talk about the epidemiology. How important is the problem you are going to address? Here you talk what is the problem you find in your clinic, in your hospital, in your setting that makes you want to do this project. So what is the problem? How did you know about the problem? Who was being impacted by the problem? So the nature and the significance of the problem. So this is example of the problem. So for example, the hospital safety report system revealed 50% increase in the incidence of medication error that reach our cancer patients receiving chemotherapy. So this is problem. This is how you identify it, who is affecting, how big is it. And then a sentinel event of patient's death after receiving antibiotics he is known to be allergic to triggered initiative to prevent such events in the future. So there was sentinel event, somebody died from getting medication that is allergic to. So this is the problem. So what do we know about this problem? Summary of what is currently known in the literature about this problem will be the next item in the background. Rationale, then the rationale here, what are the things you think you are going to be testing and theories that you use to explain the problem, and any reason or assumption that were there to develop the intervention that you are going to do. And then what always the background, the introduction should end up with your aim. What are you doing? So you say, we encountered this problem, we know that people did this and that in the past, we are going to do in our setting this, this intervention with the goal of achieving this particular thing. So here, for example, there was significant side effects to antipsychotic medications, particularly for long-term use in pediatric. So this safety medication projects was developed, and the aim was to do this and that, to reduce, for example, increase the compliance with antipsychotic medication from 48% to 85%. Methods, the next component. This should be easy because this is what you have done. It should be describing it in a way, the way you have done it, and hopefully you design it in the beginning in a very sound way. So basically, here you put the context, interventions, measures, analysis, and ethical consideration. The context is basically the physical and socio-cultural makeup of the local environment. So you describe your department, your unit, your clinic, your center, whatever, and the team is involved in this context. The intervention, what have you done? The approach chosen for assessing the impact of the intervention, and then, so the intervention, what have you done, and how did you assess whether the intervention is working or not? Generally, people say, start with a multidisciplinary team has been created, composed of these people, and it has done this. So you describe what you have done, who did it, and then how did you measure your success. And the measures has to be something specific. Quality is all about measurement. At least I know there's a lot of projects that it doesn't have to be the standard numerical measures, but at least in general, there should be measures that you are following, and you say, we are monitoring this number, this particular outcome, and so on. How did you analyze your result, your data? And then if there's any ethical consideration, if you get IRB approval or departmental approval, and so on. Generally, quality improvement projects does not require the structural approval of IRB if it's quality improvement, pure quality improvement, not research from the start of the project, but at least you should have the policy of your institution. If your institution is saying that you have to get IRB approval, you get it. If not, you get it from your department that you are going to conduct this quality. So then we move to the result. The result is basically, what did you find? Also, this should be easy. In this section, you try to show the outcome of your study, and in the most accurate and comprehensible ways. So, what was the initial steps of the intervention over the time? How did it the evolution of it over time? Describe the details of the process, measures and outcome measures. Any association between outcomes and intervention, any unintended consequences. As you know, there are three measures that we follow in quality improvement. One is process measure, second thing is outcome measures, and then is the balancing measure. Something you did not intend and you find. For example, you want to improve patient satisfaction in the clinic. So that's, and then, you implemented something that, the staff has to do more education, has to do more communication. So the process measure, did the staff do the intervention? Did they do the education to the patient? Yes, so that's a process measure. So 90% did it, okay. Then outcome measure, is the patient satisfied? So did you do in the survey and the patient satisfaction? That's an outcome measure. But then you find out that your staff are not happy. They get overwhelmed. They are not able to keep up with their work and so on. That is a balancing measure, unexpected outcome that came while you are doing your project. When you make a table, it has to be self-explanatory, really, table or figures. It has to be self-explanatory. When you look at it, you understand exactly what's going on. If there is any abbreviation, put it down. If there is any unit, put it down. So when somebody look at this table, at a figure, understand what's going on. So you look at this figure, here, this is run control chart. You know that there is some improvement here, there's shift. So here you look at the antipsychotic medication safety compliance, here the compliance percentage, here the time, and then you see here the compliance rate, and you see how it shifted up, stayed up. So you can right away tell the story that in the Q3 of 2013 there was shift, and then these are the explanation of what is in the figure. Discussion, basically you have to do the summary, interpretation, and limitation of the data. Always when you are doing the summary, or when you are doing the discussion, always start with the most powerful point you have in your study. Brag about it in a very scientific way, and not to we tend to sometimes to exaggerate our findings. But no, you say, just say your pertinent findings up front. And say, our study showed, our project showed that, improvement in the compliance of this intervention, and then what are the strengths of this project? And then, you try to interpret it. So, what was the, what was the outcome related to the intervention? Was there any confounding factors? Was there a difference between you and somebody else results, your result and somebody else results? How did the study impacted the system, and so on? And then here the limitation, you try to see what is the weakness of your study. And you have to really be candid about it and mention the weakness of the study. Otherwise the reviewers will find it and they will think that you are hiding it. So it is okay to be critical of your study, and it is okay to list it. So by this, the reviewer will say, okay, this person is aware of his limitation and he's not trying to hide anything. In the conclusion here, basically you try to say, take home message. What would the people, you want the people to remember, and hint to the future direction. Usually you say about the usefulness of your work, sustainability, how did, what was done to make sure that this improvement continue to be in the system. And then what is the possibility of spreading it to other contexts, and the impact on the practice. And suggested next step. I know in the scientific papers they usually say, warrant further investigation, warrant randomized clinical trial, prospective studies, whatever. But here try to put it in a quality improvement context. So here, conclusion example, we have achieved a reliable system for monitoring of use of antipsychotic medication, which has since been spread to other disciplines such as autism and development of disability, resulting in the majority of patients being monitored for antipsychotic medications safety, and has also resulted in patient care standardization. So standardization is one of the sustainability intervention that that you do, you put. What is next? When you have the draft finalized, please get your co-authors involved, do final review and edit and submit. What are the reviewers looking for is very critical. They are looking for original contribution. So that doesn't mean, in the quality you have to do something nobody else did it. So it could be your setting, your context, your patient's population, and so on. So it's okay to do something that other people did, to apply it in your context. How important it is, the importance, the relevance to the audience of the journal, honesty and transparency, actually, And then clear writing and adherence to guideline, and follow instructions. Please follow instruction. We cannot overemphasize how hard it is to, for reviewers when they see somebody, did not follow the instruction. And it may end up being, it depends on the deviation, it may end up being with rejection of your paper. So now, brief word about the Global Journal of Quality and Safety in Healthcare. It's actually a journal that is going to be launched in the next quarter that has, it's with Walter Clower and Midno. It is basically, focusing in publishing original research, systematic and narrative reviews of the literature, quality improvement in action, case studies, letters, and any other things related to quality improvement. It's actually peer-reviewed, open access journal published quarterly. So as I said, please, I encourage all healthcare professionals to submit to the journal for different disciplines: physicians, nursing, pharmacy, healthcare professional of all backgrounds. So anything related to quality of healthcare delivery, safety, effectiveness, efficiency, timeliness, cost effectiveness, and healthcare economics, multidisciplinary healthcare outcomes, evidence-based guidelines. So this journal will be, initially in the first 2 years, will be indexed in these partners. And then, as you know, journals later on will be indexed in other things. These are the editorial board. I'm honored to be the editor-chief with Khaled Suraimi is the associate editor, and Ms. Valerie Clark in Ohio, USA, is the managing editor. And we have very distinguished editorial board that is international, and we are proud to be affiliated with this international board. And if you'd like to submit to the journal, this is the website, www.jqsh from Journal Quality Safety Healthcare.org. We have LinkedIn account and Twitter account, and of course the email is editor@jqsh.org. Happy publishing, and thank you very much. And I wish you the best of luck.